In this video we want to talk about action learning sets. We want to look at some issues associated with action learning sets. Now, by action learning sets we mean groups involved in solving a particular problem or a particular issue, doing it now as opposed to learning it from texts and applying standard solutions or proposed solutions from text. It's trying to resolve issues that may be quite complex and quite unique, say within business or within a company, and working on the problem, trying to find a good solution. However we define good, we could talk about elsewhere, but finding a good solution, finding a solution that works. And this is the subject matter of this video. You'll see from the bottom right hand corner there's just 16 slides in here. So again, in keeping with many of the other videos on action learning, we've kept this one quite short. Nonetheless, let's get into it. Now, learning must be equal to or greater than the rate of change. Now, it's by a famous writer in the area, but what it's saying is that learning should be greater than or equal to the rate of change. Learning must stay ahead of the rate of change. If the rate of change, let's say of technology, so that problems within companies become ever more complex, then they are beyond the scope of individuals to deal with that, or to deal with problems when they arise. If the rate of change is very, very high, if the rate of technological progress or the rate of change of industry or of complexity within the company, if that rate of change exceeds the learning within the company, then when problems arise, there is no way of fixing the problems. So learning is very important within businesses. Learning is the experience of solving problems, of then reflecting on the experience and having it available in terms of that experience, in terms of memory and remembering how the solution was applied and what to look for and so on. Having that available when a problem arises again in the future. So it's important that learning is ongoing, and learning outstrips the rate of change. As I said, otherwise problems can't be solved, problems can't be resolved. So what happens during an action learning set? When a group is called together to deal with an issue, what exactly happens? Well, we have three headings here to look under. We have time, the presenter's role, and the supporter's role. Well, in the time, let's start at the beginning. The beginning is when the learning set comes into existence. And here the presenters are describing the issues, they're describing the problem, they're describing the process and what's required and the nature of the problem. It's a description of the task. And the supporters' role are in observing and listening. So we have the presenters, and these may be some charismatic person within a group who advances him or herself to present and to organize the others. Someone with good leadership qualities, perhaps. But the others will observe the problem, they'll observe the issues, and they'll listen to the problem as articulated by the presenters. Then we move to the middle. So we see the learning set as having a beginning, a middle, and an end. So moving to the middle of this, in other words, the set has been formed, its membership has now been determined, the brief as to the nature of the problem has been presented, the supporters within the set observe the problem firsthand, and they also listen to a description of the problem. So they are now briefed on the nature of the problem. And now we've moved from the beginning into the middle. And here in the middle, the presenter's role is to explore and question and listen and think. So here the presenters are exploring issues and exploring topics and questioning what others are saying, and questioning what is likely to be the issue or the problem, and questioning the comments that are being made, but also listening carefully to what's been said, because sometimes throwaway comments have got validity and are worth taking on board. And then, of course, thinking. Thinking is important because it synthesizes what's been said. It somehow takes the fairly disparate comments, the separated comments that may have been made by individual members of the set. It takes those comments and forms them into a coherent package. As for the supporters, well, they're asking the what if questions. What if we do this, and what if we do that, and what if we change this? But these questions are important because the what if scenario enables these people to delve into the problem and try to figure out what's happening. Of course, they're challenging all the time what the presenters are saying. They're challenging and asking why to do this, and why is that being recommended, and why not go about it this way as opposed to that way. So they're listening carefully as well, and also thinking about the issues, but they're asking crucial questions. And the presenter is to find action points. So they're trying to all the time ask these questions and at the same time prioritize what needs to be done and try to figure out what are the action points, what needs to be done to solve the problem, whatever the problem is. The end, well, in the end, the presenters are exploring future actions. They're looking for what was the solution that was found, and how can it be polished and retained, so that should this problem arise again in the future, there is a history that can be referred to, and perhaps from that referral, indicators as to how to solve the problem can more readily come about. So they're looking towards the future and the future actions, and adding to the knowledge base of the business by looking at the way the problem was resolved and trying to capture that and retain it for future reference. The supporters, of course, are questioning and challenging and reflecting back and offering ideas. So that's the end time period when the supporters, not just the key members of the group, the presenters, but the supporters, the other members of the group are questioning and challenging and thinking about what the solutions were and offering ideas and refining the whole process. And it's a whole learning situation, so that they have now discovered the way to solve the problem. And this problem does not appear in textbooks, as I said many times. This problem may be quite unique within that business, and perhaps this is the first time the problem has arisen in any recognizable form. So they are approaching something from a position of ignorance, but they are teaching themselves by thinking about the problem, by experimenting with the problem, trying out solutions, asking the what if questions, talking to each other, and criticism and refining the ideas all the time. And it's this that brings about the solution. So in this session, what we've just talked about briefly is the time periods within which learning sets operate, beginning, middle, and end. We could obviously change that around and add in extra time slots and so on, but those are the broad headings that occur within those 3 slots. It's also fair to say, of course, that there are many issues with learning sets that we haven't covered in this session. For example, leadership, motivation, charisma, all sorts of issues associated with the internal workings of groups, personality issues, clashes, disputes and resolution of disputes, and all sorts of issues that we could get into. But in terms of action learning, then this hits the core of what's meant by action learning. And that's all we're really going to do in this session, so let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.